Stop mowing, stop watering, stop fertilizing, stop fighting a losing battle against the 50 million acres of grass that are slowly draining your weekends, your water bill, and honestly, your sanity. The average American spends 70 hours a year mowing their lawn. 70 hours. That's nearly 2 full work weeks gone. Every year, just pushing a machine back and forth across a plant that, here's the punchline, doesn't even want to grow where you planted it. Grass lawns are a 20th century invention, a status symbol borrowed from English aristocrats who had servants to maintain them, and somehow we all decided to copy the lifestyle without the staff. Here's what the lawn industry doesn't want you to know. There are 7 plants you can put in the ground. Once that will replace your lawn forever. No mowing, no watering once established, no fertilizer, no chemicals. And plant number 2 on this list, it's so soft underfoot that kids can run barefoot on it all summer, and it fixes its own nitrogen from the air, so it literally feeds itself. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which ground covers fit your climate, exactly how to install them, and the one mistake that makes all of them fail in the first year. Here's what we're all dealing with. Grass demands more than almost any other plant in your garden. Water, fertilizer, herbicide, weekly mowing from April through October. And at the end of all that work, most lawns still look patchy, brown, and stressed by August. The alternative isn't complicated, it's just not well known. Because the ground cover plants I'm about to show you don't need the same infrastructure of products and maintenance. There's no industry built around them. Nobody's running ads telling you to buy a new ground cover spreader every spring. I'm going to walk you through all 7, what they are, what conditions they need, how fast they spread, and exactly where to plant them. And then I'll give you the installation method that takes one afternoon and pays off for the next 20 years. Stick with me to the end because plant number 7, it spreads 10 feet in a single season and produces edible fruit while it's doing it. This one genuinely blew my mind. Plant number 1, creeping thyme. Let's start with the one I recommend most often, creeping thyme. This plant does everything grass does, and several things grass will never do. It forms a dense, low mat that covers the ground completely. It handles light foot traffic well. It stays green throughout the season without any mowing whatsoever. And then in late spring, it covers itself in hundreds of tiny pink and purple flowers, turning what was a lawn into something that looks more like a garden feature. Creeping thyme has been planted between stepping stones since medieval times. Monks in monastery gardens used it because it required zero maintenance. They'd walk the paths at dusk, and the thyme would release its fragrance around them. And that's the bonus grass can never give you, the scent. When you walk on creeping thyme, the air fills with that warm, herbal, earthy fragrance. It's like summer itself. Your lawn becomes something you experience with more than just your eyes. Here's how to use it. Creeping thyme thrives in USDA zones 4 through 9. That covers most of the country. Full sun, well-drained soil. It absolutely hates wet feet. So if you have heavy clay soil, amend it with sand or gravel before planting. Once established, which takes about 1 growing season, it's drought-tolerant and essentially self-sufficient. No feeding, no mowing, no weekly commitment. It just does its thing. For a sunny front garden, courtyard, or the area between pavers, creeping thyme is one of the most transformative changes you can make with very little effort and almost no ongoing cost. The only maintenance? An occasional light trim after flowering if you want it to look extra tidy. That's it. Plant number 2 is white clover. And if you're thinking clover is a weed, I need you to hear this. Before the 1950s, clover was intentionally included in every grass seed mix sold in America. Homeowners and farmers understood something we've forgotten. Clover fixes nitrogen from the air directly into the soil. It's a natural fertilizer factory. It was only when chemical companies started marketing broadleaf herbicides that clover suddenly became a weed. Those herbicides couldn't distinguish between clover and actual weeds. So the industry rebranded clover as a problem. and convinced us to spend money killing a plant that was actively improving our soil for free. Let that sink in. Clover stays low naturally, rarely exceeding 4 to 6 inches without any intervention. It maintains that soft, lush, consistently green appearance even in dry conditions when grass turns brown and brittle. Its roots host bacteria that pull nitrogen from the air and convert it into food the plant can use. A clover lawn literally feeds itself. It flowers continuously through summer with small white blooms that bees and pollinators find irresistible. And for families with children, a pure clover lawn is softer underfoot than most grass varieties and recovers from wear and tear much faster. Here's the installation approach. You can either overseed an existing lawn with clover seed, just scatter it in early spring or fall, or start fresh with pure clover in a prepared area. Either way, it needs mowing maybe 2 or 3 times a season if you want a neater look, or leave it alone. It looks great either way. Zero fertilizer, minimal water, almost no work, and it actually improves your soil over time. We're 3 plants in, and the next 4 are where things get really interesting. Plants that solve very specific problems. One of them thrives in wet soil that would rot grass roots in a week. Another grows in such deep shade that grass won't even germinate there. And plant number 7, the fast-spreading edible, is going to completely change how you think about your yard. Stick with me. Plant number 3, creeping Jenny. If your lawn has a wet area, that spot that never really dries out, where grass rots and turns into a muddy mess, creeping Jenny is your answer. Creeping Jenny, or Lysimachia numularia, has been cultivated since Roman times. The Romans planted it near water features because it thrived in moist soil where nothing else could survive. In medieval gardens, it was valued for its bright, coin-shaped leaves. The species name numularia literally means like a coin. The golden variety called aurea has chartreuse yellow leaves that practically glow in shade gardens. And this coloration isn't just decorative. It's an adaptation that lets the plant photosynthesize efficiently in low light conditions where other plants would struggle. Here's what makes creeping Jenny special. It tolerates wet soil that would rot grass roots in days, thrives in shade where grass won't grow at all, and handles periodic flooding with 0 damage. The trailing stems can extend several feet in a single growing season. Wherever a stem touches soil, it roots, creating another plant. Plant it in problem areas, under downspouts, around rain gardens, along the edges of drainage swales, or in perpetually damp shady corners. It requires no mowing. Minimal water once established. Nature usually handles that for you, and it actually benefits from being left alone. The one watch out. Creeping Jenny is enthusiastic. It spreads fast. Don't plant it near a neighbor's prized flower bed unless you want to share. But in its own defined area, absolutely stunning. Plant number 4, Sedum Stonecrop. If you want a ground cover that thrives on actual neglect, Sedum is your answer. Sedum has been growing on rocky hillsides and stone walls for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks noticed it surviving in places where literally nothing else could, on bare stone, which is how it got the name stonecrop. In medieval Europe, it was planted on thatched roofs because it needed almost no soil and helped insulate homes. Here's what makes sedum biologically different from every other plant in your yard. It uses a specialized form of photosynthesis called CAM, crassulacean acid metabolism. During the day, sedum keeps its pores closed to prevent water loss. It only opens them at night to take in carbon dioxide. This is the same survival strategy used by cacti. What this means for you: sedum is incredibly water efficient. It can survive extended drought periods that would turn grass into dust. The succulent leaves store water for weeks. Some varieties can go a full summer without a single drop of supplemental water. Sedum spreads through both runners and dropped leaves that root wherever they fall. Some varieties can expand 12 to 24 inches in diameter per year. It stays low, typically 2 to 4 inches, and requires absolutely no mowing whatsoever. The plug planting method works best. Plant small sedum plugs 12 inches apart in prepared soil. Within 2 growing seasons, They'll knit together into a seamless carpet. It works on slopes, in rock gardens, between stepping stones, or as a complete lawn replacement in hot, dry, sunny areas. And in late summer, many varieties produce clusters of pink, red, or yellow flowers that butterflies and native bees swarm to. You plant it once, you forget about it, it just gets better every year. Plant number 5, micro clover. Plant number 5 is for those of you who love the idea of a clover lawn but want a tidier, more lawn-like appearance. It's called micro clover. Micro clover is a finer-leaved, more compact variety of white clover that was specifically developed for use in lawns. The leaves are significantly smaller than standard clover, giving it a texture that's much closer to traditional grass. From even a short distance away, it's almost indistinguishable from a fine grass lawn. But here's what makes it better than grass. It has all the same benefits as regular clover. It fixes nitrogen from the air, feeding itself and the soil. It stays green through dry spells when grass goes brown. It needs mowing maybe 3 times a year instead of weekly. And it produces those same pollinator-friendly white flowers, though fewer of them than standard clover. The installation is straightforward. You can overseed an existing lawn. Just scatter micro clover seed in early spring or fall and keep the area moist until germination. Or you can mix it with grass seed for a blended lawn that gives you the resilience of clover with the look of grass. The clover feeds the grass nitrogen. The grass fills in the spaces. They work together. Microclover used to be hard to find. Now it's available at most garden centers and from online seed suppliers. It's spreading, no pun intended, and for good reason. It's the no-mow option for people who want a conventional appearance without the conventional workload. Zero fertilizer, almost no water, almost no mowing, a lawn that feeds itself. Plant number 6, moss lawn. If you have shade and moisture, stop fighting it. Plant a moss lawn. Moss lawns are having a huge moment right now, and once you understand the appeal, it's obvious. A well-established moss lawn in the right conditions is one of the most velvety, lush, visually satisfying surfaces you can create in a garden. Japanese gardens have used moss as a primary ground surface for centuries. Some of the most famous gardens in Kyoto are famous specifically because of their moss, and the aesthetic they achieve is genuinely, deeply beautiful. There's a calm to moss, a sense of age and stillness that grass can never replicate. The key requirement is shade and consistent moisture. Moss won't work in a hot, dry, sunny position, but for north-facing gardens, shaded urban spaces, or areas under mature trees where you've been fighting a losing battle with grass for years, moss is a revelation. You're not fighting the conditions anymore, you're working with them. Establishing a moss lawn is surprisingly simple. In many shaded gardens, moss is already trying to grow there naturally. You can speed it up by transplanting moss patches from other parts of your property or buying moss from specialty nurseries. Keep it moist during the establishment phase and it will spread on its own. Once established, zero mowing, zero feeding, zero watering in most climates. The shade and morning dew handle it. Year-round deep green. It's soft underfoot. It creates an atmosphere that grass simply cannot match. Alright, plant number 7 is the big finish. This one spreads faster than anything else on this list. 6 to 10 feet in a single growing season. It covers 300 square feet per plant. It produces edible fruit, and landscape architects use it for the hardest jobs. Erosion control on steep hillsides, reclaiming damaged soil, covering areas where multiple attempts at grass have all failed. But it comes with a warning. This plant is not for the timid. Let me show you what it is, and where you should and should not use it. Plant number 7, creeping raspberry. Creeping raspberry, Rubus calicinoides, native to Taiwan, but increasingly popular with landscape professionals worldwide for one simple reason. It solves problems that nothing else can. This plant combines 3 things that almost never come together in one package: aggressive, rapid spreading, ornamental beauty, and actual edible fruit. The spreading mechanism is extraordinary. Creeping raspberry sends out long runners that can extend 6 to 10 feet in a single growing season. Wherever those runners touch soil, they root immediately, and then send out more runners. One single plant can theoretically cover 30 to 40 square feet in 1 year. Researchers have studied creeping raspberry as a model for rapid vegetative reproduction. What they found is that the plant allocates nearly 80% of its energy to horizontal expansion rather than vertical growth. It's an evolutionary strategy that makes it perfect as a ground cover and makes it outcompete almost everything else. The leaves are crinkled and textured, creating real visual interest even before you factor in the seasonal color change. They're evergreen in mild climates and turn a striking bronze in colder areas. The plant stays low, typically 3 to 6 inches, so mowing is optional at best. It tolerates full sun to partial shade. It handles foot traffic surprisingly well. And those tiny orange-red berries, they're not abundant, but they're genuinely edible. Tart. Interesting. Something you'd show your kids. Here's the warning. This plant is not for small spaces or garden beds shared with other plants. Once creeping raspberry establishes, it dominates. Use it for large areas where you want fast, permanent coverage. Plant it on slopes to prevent erosion. Install it where traditional lawns have failed repeatedly. But don't plant it next to your neighbor's prize roses, because it will win. Now, knowing which plants to pick is one thing. Installing them so they actually succeed is another. Here's the method that takes one afternoon and pays off for 20 years. Step 1. Kill the grass. You can use a sod cutter to remove existing turf. Or, the easier method, sheet mulch it. Lay down overlapping sheets of cardboard directly over the grass. Soak the cardboard. Cover it with 3 to 4 inches of compost. The cardboard smothers the grass, the compost feeds the soil, and earthworms do the rest. Wait about 6 weeks for everything to break down. Step 2. Choose your plants based on your conditions. Don't plant creeping thyme in deep shade. Don't plant moss in full sun. Match the plant to the spot. Step 3. Plant in the right season, early spring or early fall, when temperatures are mild and rainfall is more consistent. The worst time to plant ground covers is the middle of July, when the heat will stress young plants before they can establish. Step 4. Water during establishment. I know I said no watering, and that's true once these plants are established. But for the first 4 to 6 weeks, keep the soil consistently moist. Once the roots are deep, you can back off completely. Step 5. Mulch between plugs until they fill in. If you're planting plugs rather than seed, put a light layer of fine mulch between them. It suppresses weeds while the plants spread to fill the gaps. Do those 5 things, and in 2 growing seasons, you'll have a lawn that never needs mowing, never needs watering, and never needs you to spend another Saturday behind a machine. Let me lock these in. 7 ground covers that replace your lawn forever. Creeping thyme, fragrant, flowering, drought-proof. The one I recommend most, white clover, feeds itself from the air, soft enough for barefoot kids. Creeping jenny, for wet, shady spots where grass rots. Sedum Stonecrop, thrives on actual neglect. Same survival strategy as cacti. Micro clover, all the clover benefits but looks like a manicured lawn. Moss lawn, the shade solution. Japanese garden beauty with 0 work. Creeping raspberry, 10 feet a year edible fruit. Absolute coverage. The modern grass lawn was a 20th century invention, a status symbol that became a maintenance trap. These 7 plants represent what humans used for thousands of years before we decided to fight nature instead of working with it. Which one of these surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one and I'll answer your questions down there. If this just saved you 70 hours of mowing this year, hit subscribe. I share practical, science-based gardening advice every week to help you grow more with less work. Thanks for watching. Now go reclaim your weekends.